morning and welcome everyone. We feel the energy and the excitement because of the speaker that we are about to hear. And we want to thank a number of people. First of all, we want to thank Trudy's family, Reuven Michael and the entire family, for allowing us to honor Trudy's memory in this way. We know it can't be easy to create yet another forum where publicly we, with great pain, recall the loss. We appreciate you allowing this to happen in her memory. And this is an act of love and appreciation by a community because of the work that she's done for years and years. And let's all remember that we're talking about one aspect of Trudy's life, and that is her desire to see and to enhance beauty in the show. It goes back many, many years. I remember when we moved into the new offices, the new quarters back in 2001, Trudy was right there to decorate the rabbi's office, and to this day, I sit in chairs and on couches in my office that were decorated, and the patterns were chosen by Trudy. She came in with samples. I said, Trudy, you choose. Whatever you say, that's what's going to happen. And that's gone on for many years in various aspects of the show as she represented sisterhood and sisterhood's commitment to enhancing the beauty of this show. And Trudy's Treasures grew out of that effort by sisterhood to honor her memory, and we thank Leah Lewis for leading the way in creating this event and the opportunity for all of us to memorialize Trudy in this very special way. And we also want to thank Raymond for providing the delicious, we assume delicious, Chai Peking luncheon for the donors afterwards. We also want to acknowledge Jack and Pam Williams for sponsoring our guest speaker, Charles Harary, today. We thank Judy Kessler for the centerpieces that will decorate the tables. We thank Beth Intro for the photography. And we want to acknowledge the committee members, Dee Block, Betsy Sanker, Constance Ozemek, Marsha Landy, Sarah Robbins, Eileen Schleifer, Marcia Spector, Marcia Sternberg, Zipporah Wayne, Pam Williams, Doreen Wittenberg, and Jody Wittenberg. We also want to thank the synagogue staff for their help in putting this all together, the executive director, Rabbi Tendler, Sandra Kaplan, Leah Lubell, Sarah Fager-Berkowitz, and Gail Vexler. You're here because Charles Harary is known far and wide for his presentations and for his extreme, inspirational, motivational presentations. I don't think I need to say anything about him other than to yield the way to make sure that he has as much time as possible. Charles, we're thrilled to have you.
It's truly an honor to be here. I have the opportunity every once in a while to have the good fortune of speaking in different areas. Today I was picked up by a tzaddik who drove me from the airport really early in the morning here. And along the way, I had the opportunity to get a very brief download on who Trudy was. It clearly did not do her justice because we only had the 45 minutes. But when you're in the business world, your whole life is about extrapolating. So you learn very quickly how to take a story and say, well, this is the story I'm getting now. I can only imagine. And in just what I got in the concentrated moments this morning on who Trudy was, I was astounded by what she stood for, by her emunah, by her beauty, by her care for everybody in the world, by her ability to see each person for who they are, not who she wants them to be, by her acceptance and by her golden touch to be able to walk into everything and make it more beautiful. That's a lot of what God asks of us. Come into my world and make it more beautiful, okay? Do me a favor. Can you not mess it up? I made it. I'm giving it to you. do me a favor when you leave it. Can you make it a little more beautiful? It seems like that's exactly who she was. My son in 3rd grade came home this week. And somebody in the larger community had passed away, and his Rebbe was trying to teach the little boys how to grapple with tragedy. And he said to him, when people die young, it's because they've done so much that they don't need to live anymore. They've given so much to the world, they've lived a lifetime. And to my young son, that made sense. We're not God, we have no idea. But my bracha to Trudy's family, to her friends, and to this entire community is that her legacy should live on in all of us. We should make the world a little more beautiful every day. We should see each other for who we are, not for who we want us to be. And we should be zoche that she's in Shemayim right now, looking down and being proud of the world that she left. And together, all of us should experience simchas and brachas, health and happiness in this incredible community, which I am so thrilled to be back at. I may have asked Shana. Thank you very much. You guys have been great, by the way. Thank you. There's a Delta flight in 15 minutes. I'm going to try to catch the football game. It's such an honor to be back. I love your rabbi so much. I look up to him so much. I've been back here twice. Well, more than twice. I have brothers that I spent a week in Israel with, rabbis who I've spent time with. So thank you so much for the time, and I hope I won't take too long. So we're in this incredible month. This is the month called Adar. And we have this line that we use again and again. It comes from a Mishnah originally. The line is, we all know it, Mishenichnas Adar, when Adar comes in, Marbim B'Simcha, we increase our joy. Something about Adar. This is it. When you come here now, once you enter into this month, now we're lucky we have a double Adar. There's a famous line from the Lubavitcher Rebbe that says there's a halachic principle that something is batal b'shishim. When you have a little bit of milk filling into a meat pot, it's encompassed in 60. This year, Adar is 60 days. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, life right now is batal b'shimcha. That's the rule. I'm taking it. Mishenich, when you come to Adar this month, marbim b'simcha. Something happens and we increase our joy. And the question that I have is, why? Why this month? Because there's a holiday this month? Can I tell you something? In Tishrei, in September, we've got tons of holidays. Remember my first job, I worked for a very waspy American law firm. I'll never forget it. I came in, first week, they're like, welcome to the law firm. We're going to pay you a lot of money. Are you ready to work? I'm like, about the whole work thing, it's September, and I'm an Orthodox Jew. So here's how it's going to work. Next week is Rosh Hashanah. They're like, oh, we've heard of Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, yeah. Well, I turn into a pumpkin at night, so I'll be out in the afternoon. And then I got 2 days. They're like, no, we've heard of that. I'm like, oh. And then the next week is Yom Kippur. Like, we've heard of that too. I'm like, oh, then the fun just begins. Then I'll sit in a booth for 8 days, so I'll catch it in November, all right? Right? Like, what? Because there's a holiday? Like, it's a... Oh, maybe it's because there's a miracle that happened in Purim? Like, really? You want miracles? Like, I gotta tell you something. Hold off a month, wait for Nisan, Pesach, Passover. Those are miracles. You know what I'm talking about? This Purim story was like a little bit of like, someone made a move in politics. That we had in Passover, there's like grasshoppers and split seas and blood, and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, like it gets so much better. Why? Why? Because we get to drink? For real? Could that possibly be it? Could we get like a day off? If you would have to like categorize like the most important Jewish holidays, wouldn't Purim be like on the bottom? You know what I'm talking about? Like if I give you a list of like what are the most important Jewish holidays, wouldn't it be like Yom Kippur number 1, Rosh Hashanah number 2? Like Purim is like number 12. Isn't that like the recess period of Jewish holidays? Like take the day off, right? Like because we get to drink. Could that be it? I remember when I was in law school, we had a bunch of guys. We had a study group. 3 Orthodox guys and a not wonderful guy, an Irish guy. Phenomenal guy. I became very close to him. Can you imagine 3 Orthodox Jews and an Irish guy? This is the beginning of a bad joke, by the way. 3 Orthodox Jews and an Irish guy walk into law school. I'll never forget. He's like, I want to hear about your religion. I'm like, no, it's fine. They're like, I want to hear about your religion. I'm like, no, it's fine. Every 5 minutes, he's like, no, tell me about it. Or he's very curious. He was a religious man. I'm like, it's fine. They're like, no. So he goes, listen, we have a big final in midterm. If we get an A on this midterm, I am invited to your home for the next holiday. We said, fine. Midterms in December, vacations in January, the grades come out in February. You know what's in March? Purim. He comes over Purim, he's like, this is an incredible religion. I'm like, all right, tough guy, just wait until Yom Kippur. We balance out. What in the world is Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha? So I want to talk to you today about that a little bit. Happiness. But you can't really talk about happiness until you talk about what I think really is the connecting to happiness, true happiness. And that's something that we all want. All of us, I believe, you look around the room and everybody looks different. That's what it is. You walk into a room, everybody looks different than you. Different backgrounds, different denominations, different ways of life, different belief systems, different teams, different jobs, just differences. When you look around the room, what you're almost overwhelmed with, when you walk the hallways, when you walk the airports, you're just overwhelmed by how different everybody is. But if you can go one layer beneath the surface, what you'll find is that as different as everybody appears, everyone is exactly the same, in my opinion. We're the same in that we want the same thing. We want something out of this life. We want, I believe, to get through our lives and get to the end of it and have a very, very similar feeling. I wrote a book called Unlocking Greatness. I spent years on this one idea. Because I believe at the end of the day, what makes us all the same, even though it manifests differently, even though when you go to bed at night and you turn to your spouse, you say something and the words you say is going to be different, but the feeling is so similar to the person down your block. It's that we're after a certain quality of life. I believe what we really want is we want to get to the end of our lives and look back and say, we lived a certain type of life. I believe we want all of us to touch greatness. We want to live a great life. I am mediocre doesn't come off our tongues because when we say it, we know it's not true. And anyone here who's raising a kid, you know what I'm talking about. Because the worst thing your kid can tell you is, Ma, Dad, you don't get me, okay? I'm just not good at math. I tried for 3 minutes, and I'm a people person. You ever get that? You're in 4th grade. How do you know you're a people person? Can you just sit down for more than 3 minutes? No, you don't get this. I went to school, and no one sat next to me at lunch, and so I'm just not good. I'm just not great. I know you think I am, Ma, but and as a parent, you're like, what are you kidding me? You can't give up on me, life. You can't give up on math. You didn't even try sports. No. And they look at you like, how come you care so much? And as a parent, you could turn to them and you go, because I want you to have a great life. You know why? Because I want that for myself. I may have given up on myself a little bit for greatness, but I'm not giving up on you. And we are blessed because this holiday coming up has within it, I think, one of the most unusually great people in the entire Tanakh. If you look through Tanakh, if you look at all of Jewish history, you'll find that almost everyone in Tanakh, everybody in the story of Jewish history, had a very similar path. You knew they were great when you first saw them in Torah. When Abraham shows up to the scene and he walks through the fire for his beliefs, you kind of knew he was going to have a really good career as a Jewish leader. You know what I mean? When you want to pick him first in your fantasy league, it's a good choice. When Yitzchak puts his neck on the line, when Jacob sees angels, when Yosef says no, when Moshe sees a bush burning, you kind of bet that if I just stick with this guy long enough, he's going to be my star quarterback and we're winning Super Bowls. There's no question that when you see people, when they first meet them, the Torah picks and chooses different individual stories to tell us this person's living a great life, with one major exception. The story of Purim has an incredibly great person. Who am I speaking about? Esther. But if you look at the story, you find something amazing. When you first meet her, and then when you end the story, she's two totally different people. When you first meet Esther in the story, if you remember the story, she appears so meek, so subordinate. The Megillah tells us wherever Mordecai takes her, she goes. This tyrannical, crazy man named Achashverosh decides he wants another wife after he killed his first one. And Mordecai comes home one day and goes, hi, Esther. She's like, how are you? He's like, I've got an idea for you. She's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm putting you on the list to marry him. She's like, she'd be like, what, are you kidding me? She's like, okay. She gets to the story, and there's a guy named Haggai. Haggai is the head of the harem. And what they would do is they would beautify the women for 6 months before they would let them even into the king. And Haggai says to her, what do you use? She's like, what do you mean? She's like, what do you use? What, conditioner, bronzer? Like, what do you got? Foundation, what do you got? And she goes, what have you got in the cabinet? She's like, no, really? I got a friend of mine, I kid you not, a friend of mine, he's got 6 girls. He says to me, I identify with nobody in Torah except for Haggai. That's my life. I wake up in the morning, my bathroom is a beauty, and they're fighting, and I don't know how it works. I'm like, my only job is stay out of the way and make sure the credit card clears. That's my job. I'm like, that is great advice in general. She's like, whatever you got. She walks to Achashverosh, who are you? Nobody. Where you from? Nowhere. The Gemara says she was like karka. She was like land, like nothing. And then at the end, oh my gosh, she dominates. She walks in to Achashverosh and Haman. She outplays them, not once, but twice. She stares them in the face. We have a hard time calling someone. You ever get mad at somebody, you have a hard time calling? You call them, you're like, voicemail. Oh, you picked up, hi. Can you hang up and I'll call you back when you're not around? You ever have that? That's why WhatsApp's the best thing ever. She stares at Haman, he's killing my people. Achashverosh goes, you okay? No, I'm not okay. What else do you need? I want another day so we can kill people. And Achashverosh learns you can be the most powerful man in the world, but you're only as happy as the happiness of your Jewish wife. That's it. You mess with that, it's over. He gets that. She turns to the rabbis and write me a Megillah. They go, okay. She goes, and put my name on it? What happened to Esther? What happened to Megan's subordinate? How did she become Superwoman? So it's hard to get to Purim without us understanding what goes on right beforehand. One of the greatest parts about Judaism is that you have to be Sherlock Holmes. I love that the most. I went to law school. There's so many parts of our religion that seem so nonsensical. It's just the rabbis hiding all the greatness. But when you delve in, you see stuff that you never thought possible. And so right before you get to the holiday itself, right before you can unlock the story of Esther, and you can unlock the simcha, the joy of Adar, we have one of the most interesting weekends of the year. We've got a lot of enemies. There are people who don't like us. You know what I'm saying? That's how it works. Typically, it's a simple strategy. It's a simple sort of process. There's a nation, they don't like us, then they try to kill us, then we win, and then we turn them into food. That's how it usually works. Every nation that doesn't like us is just sort of, we deal with it. That's how it is. They try to kill us, let's eat. But from all the nations that don't love us, there is one nation that we are the most obsessed with. What nation is that? There's a nation called Amalek. Amalek. Now, there's such a crazy concept. This nation is spoken about at the end of Devarim. But what we do is we give them a Shabbaton. Before you get to Purim, you have a weekend. It's an amazing thing. And this weekend is called Parshas Zachor. Because we have an obligation, all of us, to erase the memory of Amalek. That's our task, to erase their memory. So you know what we do to erase their memory? We have a weekend to remember them. Anybody following yet? And here's what the rabbi says. Rabbi gets up and goes, okay, guys, no talking in shul. For real. This time, guys, seriously. There's 2 readings, there's 4 readings, there's 6 readings, there's reading for ladies, reading for the men. No, seriously, no talking. Everybody stand up. No talking, no talking. Come on, please, no talking. Because according to the Torah, the only time you have to actually really be in shul for the most part is once a year. And then one time that mid-de'oraisa from the Torah obligation it is to read a piece of the Torah and hear it together is the story of Amalek. And we get together and we read about the time when the Jews come out and Amalek tried to kill us. And the reason why everybody has to come together is because we have to remember their memory. Because the reason why we have to remember their memory is because we have to erase their memory. Anyone here following the logic on this thing? Do anyone know where Amalek is? It's over. We won. You know what I'm talking about? It's like, why can't we just give it up? They're not around. We got big shuls. We go to Israel. We beat them already. You guys stop by on the street and go, what's Amalek? They're like, are you cursing? What are you talking about? We don't even know who they are. So we just add people. The Nazis, Amalek. The people with suicide bombs, Amalek. When I failed my road test, my grandparents like, Amalek. That's how it works. They're just, we don't even know who they are. And they're erased. Their entire memory is gone. Nobody in the universe now knows the name Amalek except for a few Jews that come together every year to remember them because it's our responsibility to erase their memory. I have a better idea. It's called the Harary plan. Here's what we're going to do. How about we just don't have the Shabbaton, put them back in Devar when everybody's snoozing in the summer, and in a couple of years we will actually erase their memory. Am I wrong? What in the world are we doing? And that, by the way, is how we enter into Purim and meet Esther and open up our Simcha. What is going on? So, I don't know if you guys share this passion with me of conspiracy theorists, because I'm a big one. And I'm a big, I pretend like I'm in the Mossad. Anyone have this, by the way? Where you read websites and think that because I'm following some story that was 8 months old, I'm in. I think there's a part of me that wanted to be in the Mossad growing up, and because I grew up here, I didn't get that chance. So I read all this stuff about Israel. I'm so obsessed with Israel's security and intelligence, and just I feel like I want to be on the in, even though I'm so on the out. Now, if you remember, a couple years ago, there was this major thing happening in Iran. Iran's got this idea. You ready for this? Iran has a new idea. It's called trying to destroy the Jewish people. It's very original. And they have this concept they're going to come build a bomb and destroy us. I just can't wait, by the way, to see what food we make with Iran. It's going to be amazing. It's going to have hummus in it for sure, tons of oil, be a little spicy. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for the Iranian food that we're going to make, but I leave it up to you to figure that out. Iran's got this idea. They're going to build a bomb. It's going to send it over to Israel, and they're going to kill us. So if you remember, for those, this isn't new. If you remember a while ago, the Iranian nuclear program was shut down for a while. So for those of you who follow these websites, what happened was, I don't know, no one told me, but I think they told me. What happened was the Mossad joined together with the CIA, and they created a virus that they planted into the Iranian nuclear power plant, nuclear facility, and that virus shut down the facility from the inside. Now, Iran, just to understand, in 1981, Iraq had this idea, and Israel sent in F-16s. Ilan Ramon, the famous Ilan Ramon was one of them, and they bombed the facility. So Iran prepared themselves for that. So what Iran did was they created one of the greatest surface-to-air missile areas around the facility. So as soon as an F-16 would come in sight, they'd be able to knock them out. But the Israelis understood that just because you're blocking us from, we're going through the back door. And as opposed to sending in F-16s, what they did was they sent in the Mossad, and the guys came in, and they planted this bug, and the bug was called the Stuxnet virus, and it's the most powerful computer virus known to man. And as the Iranians were waiting for the F-16s, the entire nuclear facility was crumbling from the inside. Now, can you picture this thing just for 1 minute, okay? Just be there. F-16, ground-to-surface missiles, probably Iranian guards, staring, where are the Israelis? Bring them on, El Jihad, right? And meanwhile, there's, probably 2 Israelis, in a bunker in, Dimona, you know what I'm talking about, on computers, drinking black coffee, Turkish coffee with, the little dirt, eating olives and hummus, talking 100 miles an hour, Yoni, and they're controlling, and they're so scared, the Israelis, and the whole thing is crumbling. I don't know, it gives me so much joy just thinking of that. The Iranians made the most simplest block and the most simplest mistake of the book. They think that the enemy goes away when the enemy changes its face. The Israelis understood how to play the game. We're not sending in F-16s. We did that in 1981. Pretend, come look for us here. We're going to go to the back door. And while you're waiting for F-16s, we're going to send a virus that's going to take you down before you even know it. Who is Amalek, and why do we hate them so much? We've had some bad people throughout our lives. You think Egypt was a party? We think that Egypt was they worked us hard and they didn't give us a bonus. Egypt was Nazi Germany. The camps of Egypt were Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen. When there wasn't enough bricks, they took babies out of mothers' arms and stuck them in walls. We don't hate Egypt so much. As the Jews walked in, Moab, Ammon, every nation fought us. Our whole life is a life of the world beating us up. Have we ever had a century where we stood somewhere? But why is it that when it comes to Amalek, we can't forget them? And the answer is you have to understand the context in which they came to the scene. The Jews are coming out of Egypt, and one of the greatest mistakes we make is that we think that the whole purpose of Exodus, the whole purpose of Yetzias Mitzrayim was to get us out of Egypt, as if God needed to negotiate with Paro, as if God, who created Paro, was like, pretty please, no, okay, here, blood, no, can I, please, okay, grasshoppers, as if he needed to go 10 rounds with him. God, if he wanted to get the Jews out of Egypt, he could have told Moshe, here's the deal. Tuesday afternoon at 12 o'clock, lights are shutting down, that's it. The Jews could have left, they could have been having shawarmas on Ben Yehuda Street before the lights go back up and they go, where all the Jews go? Getting out of Egypt was easy. This wasn't about getting out. God didn't bring the plagues to get us out of Egypt. God didn't do all that stuff because he was worried about Paro. The entire story of the Jews in Egypt was not about the Jews. It wasn't about us. God wasn't helping us. He was using us. Because up until that period of time, people believed in a God, but the God they believed in lived in heaven. He was a force that created the world. He didn't get dirty in this world. God wouldn't come down and deal with people. It was beneath God to be able to manipulate people's lives. God lived there. He set the clock in motion and off he went. And God needed to introduce a concept in the world of which his presence is here. We believe at the end of the day that we think that the God in this world just is up there and is so big. God needed to use a way to tell the entire world that what it means that I am in this world is not that I just created and left. What it means that I'm in this world is that I am in every single thing. What God did was he took the Jewish people and used their exodus as the most incredible lesson in humanity. Going toe-to-toe with the most powerful man in the world. We forget this because Egypt is now a third world country. But at that time, Egypt was the center of civilization. Right now, America is the center of civilization. For how much longer this lasts, we live in the center of civilization. If you go to Europe, everybody knows our politics. You go to high school in America and ask them to name like 5 European countries. They're like, England, France, is Spain part of that? I think so. Right? If it wasn't for the live map on the El Al flight, half people wouldn't even know that Europe even exists anymore. Because for however long this is, we're the center of the world. If whatever, people go to Europe, they still work. Like, I went to Europe once, they asked me if like I knew Patrick Ewing. You know what I'm talking about? Like, Patrick Ewing? Egypt was the center of the world. They controlled the world's food, which as Jews, we know how important that is. Paro was the man. He wasn't a president. He was the dictator. He was the most powerful man in the universe. God went toe-to-toe 10 times to bring out different aspects of who he was. The Jewish people were his conduit. He was using us. When the Jews walked out of Egypt, the whole world stopped. Because they finally understood that there's a people in this world that can represent that God is in this world. He cares about little details. He's in the hearts and the minds of people. It's an unbelievable new thing. And they're walking through the world and everyone is getting it. And the entire world is finally ready to hear and understand that God exists here. And just before they were going to walk into the promised land and seal the deal and be the nation that can live with God. One nation. By the way, you know where Amalek came from? They came from what is now present-day Gaza. Think about it. The Jews came out of Egypt. One nation. They weren't worried about their territory. They weren't worried about their people. One nation said, I can't even digest the fact that these people may bring God into this world. They left their hometowns with no threat to them whatsoever and came to fight the battle against Jewish people, not even to win. They had one goal in mind. Draw blood. Because if they can draw a drop of blood, then all of a sudden there's a little bit of doubt. Maybe they're not so great. Maybe the Jewish people don't have this invincibility. Maybe maybe Moses got lucky. Maybe it just was natural. Because if they're going to draw a little bit of blood in a battle, then all of a sudden there's a doubt that creeps into the world. That was their goal. That's why gematria, the numerical value of Amalek, is Suffolk. Suffolk means doubt. Their entire goal in this world, Amalek, was to create a doubt that God is with us. You mess with us, we say, we'll forgive you. You mess with our dad, we'll remember you forever. Amalek isn't our enemy. You know Amalek's enemy is? It's God's enemy. Amalek is the one that says, do me a favor, calm down. Don't be so into God. Really? Really? Where was he? Here, here, and there. Really? Really? Relax. And we live our lives, all of us, and somehow throughout history, we have taken God and stuck him up. When this happened, I don't know when we started to take God and to throw him up. We pray up. We think up. Where is God? There. Where's heaven? There. We think, I'm here and he's there, and hopefully he doesn't get upset with me. And I'll tell you something, there's some days you don't mess with God. Come Yom Kippur, you better show up, because he's going to put you in a book. And if you don't say some words and fast forever and scream, it's like Jewish color work. Can you get a little louder? Can you scream a little more? And you dive on the floor. Can you bow? Can you bend? Oh, okay. And then God's going, I don't know. God's got a big white beard. If you're naughty, he doesn't give you presents. And if you're nice, then you get some good stuff. Just sit on his lap. And God goes, let me see. Charlie, I didn't even know you were here. You're a lawyer. I don't even have you on my list. Okay. Listen, dude, you're not a rabbi, so I'm not giving you a sweet, like, calm down. Okay, you'll be a Benoni. And then God goes back up and I get to be me again. God's not up. You know where God is? He's up and around. But you know where God is? He's in. Spirituality, godliness, a piece of the divine, not God in himself, God in his manifestations, is in life. He's in me. He's in you. I speak to people, they tell me, I'm this religious, I'm that religious, I'm into it, I'm not into it. I'm like, stop it. You have more spirituality built into your system than you will ever need in your entire life. You don't get spirituality. You don't get God. It's there already. You reveal. Jew doesn't become spiritual. They reveal spiritual. You have more godliness inside you than you can ever dream in your entire lives. The only question is, how do you get it out? It's already in there. It's in things. God is in my marriage. God is in my children. God is in my work. I walk my day. We walk our lives in the life that we live, in the world that we see. Everything around us is made with a piece of the divine. And when we walked out of Egypt, we got it. And when you walk through your life and believe that inside you is the divine, and you get thrown a challenge, you look at that challenge and go, for real? Do you have any idea who I am? Do you have any idea what I'm made of? You think the challenge is knocking me out? You think this hard thing is going to knock me down? You think because I want to do something that it's hard? For real? Do you know what's inside us? When the Jewish people got to Israel, do you think they were welcome? Do you think the Jewish people got to Israel and they're like, oh, welcome back. It's been a few thousand years. Welcome home. We have a care package, and here's some hashish and some hummus, and welcome back. How in the world did a bunch of Jews that spend most of their time out in the world somehow manage to put it together and have a state? It wasn't because they came back and they were military geniuses. And when you speak to especially the beginning of the people that came to Israel in the army or that lived there, and you ask them, they can't articulate it, but what they're all saying is, there's something inside us. We came back, we drew a line and said, we're never leaving again, no matter what. I don't care, I'm never leaving again. Where do you have the courage to do that for? I actually spoke to one guy on one of our trips. I've come seeing some of my brothers here from our trips. We go to Israel. On one of the trips, I saw a guy who wasn't a religious man, and I said to him, he was an old-time soldier. He was in 48 and 56 and 67 and 73. And I said to him, where do you have the gall to be in an army to think you're going to overcome such challenges? You know what he told me? He goes, I don't know. He goes, but I got to tell you something. When I was a kid growing up, I sat in my Seder. And at my Seder, my grandfather said to me, a long time ago, they tried to kill us, and we overcame. And I thought to myself, why should it end with me? He had something inside him that said, I don't know, it's hard. I can't know how we're going to do this. But you know what we got? You know who we are? We're something special. There's something inside me. There's a piece of me that's not physical. There's a piece of me that's not just in this world. And if I can just draw into that piece of me, there's more kindness, there's more patience, there's more fortitude than I knew was possible for me. When we walk around with the understanding that what's inside us is divine, and what's in front of us has totally different ramifications than if we walk around thinking that I am just whatever I can feel at this given moment. And that feeling was what we had when we left Egypt. And that feeling was what we were going to give to the world until Amalek showed up. And then the doubt comes in and says, do me a favor. Maybe for him, but not for you. You're not so holy. You're not so religious. Calm down. Calm down. Really, calm down. Maybe he's feeling it up there, but between me and you, we know each other.
You know my background. You know where I came from. I'm like this. I'm a bad Jew. I hate that. I'm a bad Jew. I'm a good Jew. As if we know. I'm a good Jew. I'm a bad Jew. I'm a this Jew. I'm a that Jew. I'm like this. I'm like that. I'm not even Jew. Let me prove to you why there's no God inside me. That doubt, that inability to walk with that confidence, that self-consciousness that exists in our minds while we don't have a bounce in our steps, while we don't walk through walls, while we don't realize how great life can be because of the challenges in front of us, so just bring out what's inside us, that way of thinking is Amalek. That's not from us. So here's what happens. You ready for this? We think we beat them. We're so proud of ourselves. Where's Amalek now? I don't know. We got Jerusalem stone buildings. We got big shuls. We got airlines that fly us to Western walls in less than 2 days. We're killing it. We got apps. We got you go to a bar mitzvah, there's no sushi. We're like, really? No sushi at a bar mitzvah? We've arrived. We're the Jewish people. This isn't 1920. Amalek, where are you, tough guy? You know where Amalek is? They're working some back room because they've stopped flying F-16s. Now they're a virus. They're a virus that lives in the hearts of big, beautiful buildings, wonderful-looking Jews, programs that go to Israel. It's all beautiful. Right in that little heart. Amalek's like, gotcha. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Just killed the family. No, God's not with you. Nah, please, God's not with you. No, God's not with you for sure. Not in this case, not in this case, not in that case, not in here. Do me a favor. Can you calm down a drop? You're not the rabbi. God's not with you. I know where you were last week. Do me a favor. And as big as we look, and as great as we seem, we think we beat them. We're screaming, come on, Amalek, bring it. We got an army now. You think you're the Nazis? Yeah, bring on the Nazis. We got commandos now. You think we're 1920s Jews? Oh, we got the best Air Force in the world. Bring on the Nazis. We turn around like big tough guys. And Amalek goes, that's okay. We're not people anymore. We're the virus in your heart. The feeling of being alone, with the feeling of the Jews that look up and say, God doesn't love me. God only loves me if. And so every year God says, you cannot walk into Purim until you get in that room. God goes, get in the room. You get in the room and you read. Yeah, read. Remember Amalek. You know why? Because they're not gone. I'll tell you when they're gone. They're not gone. Stop patting yourself on the back. They're not gone. Get in the room. Men, women, children, get in the room and read. Remember Amalek. Because it is your job. You are on this planet to erase their memory. You're on this planet to find me in small crevices of this world. You're on this planet to tell people that a football catch has God in it too. You don't have to just be religious only in a shul. That's a place of high levels of intensity. You're on this planet to find me in the secular aspects of your life, in your jobs. You're here to tell people and to feel that I'm on carpool with you. And I'm in the kitchen, and I'm in the marriages, and I'm in the fights, and I'm with the kids. That's Amalek. Get rid of it every way you can. That's what we started, and that's what we got to finish. That's our job. And that's why God says, I need you to do it before Purim. Do you know why? Because if you look at Purim, it is the most secular holiday that we have. Every single Jewish holiday, every single one, every one, has a very similar structure. Jews are in trouble, and God shows up and poofs a miracle. In Pesach, Passover, he poofs a lot of miracles. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur remembers the time where Moshe came down with all the tablets. Shavuos was God revealing himself on Mount Sinai. Hanukkah, God shows up and creates the oil. Every single holiday that we have, every one. The reason why we have the holiday is because what we are remembering in part is an actual miracle where someone looks and goes, God, God, God. Nobody thinks the oil burnt 8 days because it just did. Nobody thinks seas just split. Maybe today they do, but no one really thinks that seas just split or that heaven just opens up. Everything we have is remembering a revealed aspect of God except for one holiday. The only holiday that we have is the holiday of Purim, where the entire story was a bad man named Haman trying to kill us, and a queen that happened to have been Jewish, who happens to save the day through political intrigue. Nothing, God didn't show up. By the way, it didn't even happen in Israel. Mordecai and Esther aren't even their Jewish names. There's nothing, this story could have happened at any point in history. This could be happening right now for all we know. Right now in the Israel-American world, it could be happening right now. The whole story of Mordecai and Esther is the story of a political, secular move. And when you walk into Purim, the challenge that we're going to have is say, what do you mean? This isn't really God. God would show up. He'd prove the miracle. And God goes, here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk in, you think this is a regular holiday. Before you walk into the holiday, let me tell you how it's going to work. You get rid of Amalek. You get rid of these blinders in front of your eyes that I'm only existing over here. You only see me when I prove a miracle. And you'll walk into this holiday, and you know what you're going to see? Me everywhere. You're going to see me in how she got to be the queen and nobody else. You'll see me in how this happened and that happened. You're going to see me in the nuances in life. Because seeing God when he proves a miracle is awesome. But what it really means to be a Jew is to see God in the small nuances of our lives. In every little thing, which, by the way, as in speaking to you on the way here, was what Trudy stood for. The beauty in every little thing. Amunah and faith in every step of the way. You don't wait for big moments to find God. You see him in every step, in every move, in every crevice. We don't pray to God only in Hebrew. We do. We pray to God in English all the time. We speak to him all the time. My grandmother was one of the most faithful person I have ever met. I've got an interesting background. My father comes from Aleppo, Syria. My mother comes from Moonkach, which makes me a walking United Nations with better resolutions. Everything that I eat either has rice or margarine. That's my life. My Sephardi grandmother, God bless her, I don't even think she knew how to read Hebrew. I don't think she knew a lot more than that. She used to cook. Anyone here Syrian? Any Sephardim in the room? Any Sephardi? You know what? Anyone here? This is food, Sephardi foods that all had very similar things: meat, rice, and oil. It's great. And she'd cook them, and I'm like, Grandma, who are you talking to? She's looking like I'm talking to God. I'm like, wait, in the kitchen? She's playing mahjong with her friends, she was like a mahjong queen. She just wiped people out. She'd walk into like a little crew of old ladies, and like they just rip them through. She was awesome. She was like, if there were like World Series of mahjong, like, you know what I'm saying, on ESPN, my grandmother would be like, sunglasses, backwards cap, big, huge blingy, But that's my grandmother. 4'11", that's my grandmother. If you can picture it. Like, Grandma, who are you talking to? You're playing mahjong. She's like, I'm talking to God. I'm asking him for help. I'm like, Grandma, you crazy? You're not in shul. She's like, what? I'm not in shul. Are you kidding me? Everywhere, everything. God goes, you want to understand the story of Purim? There's two ways of understanding it. You put on your secular glass, and you see that we got lucky, or you whip through Amalek. You know what you're going to see? Me everywhere. Because I'm your dad. I'm your mom. I don't want to just be invited into your life when you give me your grades. I want to know what happens to you on the bus. I care about everything. I was talking before about my girls. I've got 14-year-old girls, God bless them. Something happens to the girls when they become teenagers. When they're like 4 or 5, dad is at least the most important thing in the world. Like, I'm like everything. What happens when they get the word teen? Did something go in there? I don't know. Is there some kind of like shift that takes place? So they came home last night, they were like, did some dance in school. I'm like, so show me the moves. They're like, nah. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, show me those. They're like, nah, dad. I'm like, I'm your dad. I'm like, show me your moves. And I'm like, when did I stop becoming the most important person in your life? I'm your dad. I don't care about your grades. I want to know your dance moves. God looks at us and goes, you think I'm only after when you pray to me? I want to be in your life. I want to be in every step. I'm part of your life. I'm in this world. You can't walk into Purim and see a story that seems so secular until you see how It's filled to the gills with spirituality. And maybe that is how Esther did it. Maybe that's the secret to Esther. Because if you remember the story, something very specific happens. I'll take you into the one moment that she changes. If you remember the story, Haman gets a lot of power. And he reaches to the top of the kingdom. And at the top of his kingdom, Ahasuerus hands him his ring and says, sign whatever laws you want. And he signs a law that in 11 months, there's going to be the ability for anybody that goes out to kill the Jewish people. And that law comes out. What do you think happened in the palace? Think about this. Shushan, that was the capital then, was a regular city. Right now, we live in a regular city. If, God forbid, right now in Washington, they passed a law that said in 11 months from now, anyone could go out, find a Jew, and kill them at no penalty of law. That was the law. What would we do right now, 2019? We would probably do a bunch of things. We'd probably have the kids praying. We'd probably send a delegation to Washington. We'd probably be protesting. That's what we would do, no? Guess what? That's exactly what they did back then. The law came out, they found out about it, and they had kids sitting and saying Tehillim. They had people doing challah baking. They had people doing this. They had people protesting around the palace. And Mordecai turns around and goes, hey, guys, wait a second. This is amazing. I got the ultimate in. This is like APAC on steroids. I got this. I'm totally in. The queen is my niece. We're cool. Chill. Keep on doing what you're doing, but we got this covered. She's the queen. It's not gonna kill the queen. And he sends a letter to Esther. You know what he tells Esther? He says, Esther, I don't know if you know what's going on in the West Wing, because in the East Wing you may be protected from this, but in the West Wing, your husband's going nuts. So Esther, here's what he says. He goes, Esther, go in there and tell your husband Ahasuerus, this is what Haman did, and stop the decree. And you know what Esther sends him back? A letter. You know what the letter says? Stop, you're embarrassing me. I heard you changed your clothes. I heard you look different. Dude, I can't go in. I can't. Me? I can't. Me? You know my name? You're telling me to go into the kitchen. He didn't invite me in. I can't go in uninvited. He's going to kill me. I can't. I'm meek. I can't. And Mordecai sends her back a letter. You know what he says to her in that letter? I got to tell you, this line, in my opinion, is one of the most impactful lines in all of Torah. If you go to me during Purim and you see my kids, when this line comes, they all roll their eyes. They're like, okay, Daddy. He says to her the following line. To me, this is it. I have this on my wall. He says, if you stay quiet now, don't worry. If we're meant to be saved, we'll be saved by somebody else. Va'at, and you, ubeis avich, and your father's home, tovedu. You and your father's home will be. Anybody know who Esther was? She was a orphan. Why would he talk about her father? That seems like a low blow, right? Listen to this idea. Amalek, just stick with me for a second on this. You got to hear this. Amalek is descendant from two people, a woman named Timnah and a man named Eliphaz. Timnah was a princess. Her father was a man named Lotan. Eliphaz was the son of Esav. She wanted to be part of the Jewish people, but no one would marry her. So she settled on being the concubine of Esav's son Eliphaz. God said, you sacrificed for marriage to be part of my people. You're granted with nuclear power. Sacrifice gives you power. She married a bad guy. So her descendants were nuclear. Amalek's nuclear. They're just nuclear for bad. Anybody else in the Torah sacrificed for marriage? Who else sacrificed herself in the area of marriage for what was right? Rachel. Remember the story? Rachel was supposed to marry Yaakov, and her father-in-law gave it to her sister Leah. Rachel sacrificed for marriage, which is why the children of Rachel are the ones that have the power to fight against the nation of Amalek. Where was Esther from? Binyamin. Binyamin is the son of? Mordecai sends a letter to Esther and goes, don't you get it? You think you're meek? You think you're nobody? You think because you feel like you can't, that means you can't? When did that happen? When did feeling like I can't mean I can't? When did it become that because I feel like I can't, that means that I can't? When did we become so soft When did we become so weak that just because I feel uncomfortable, that must mean that I am incapable? When did discomfort equal incapacity? When did it become that because I feel like I can't do something, I know that I can't? Esther turns around and says, no, you don't get me. You got the wrong lady. Don't you know me? Didn't you raise me? I didn't say anything, remember? I walked in, I married him. Remember the whole story with the hey guy? I didn't even use my own foundation. Which woman doesn't have her own foundation? I don't know. I just put on anything. Really? I walked in, I'm a nobody. Don't you know I'm a nobody? And Mordecai turns and goes, you think you're a nobody? You think you're a nobody? Do you know where you come from? You know who your great-grandmother was? You know the power that is resting inside you? You think you're walking in here alone? Guess what? If we're meant to be saved, there's a plan. God runs this world. If you don't step up, somebody will. But what you have inside you is so much bigger than what is being expressed outside. So you have to choose right now. Choose what you think you can do or choose what you should do. And then he ends with the following line, Umi yodea, and who knows? Imla eis kazos, for this moment, he got lamalchos, you became queen. Every single day, every one of us is faced with the following choice: comfort or greatness. Comfort or greatness. Because greatness is uncomfortable. Somehow, along the way, they marketed that greatness could be found with $2.99 on a small installment plan if you just buy 5, and the second one is for free, and I'll ship it to you overnight. The way it really works is that greatness is uncomfortable. And when you think about your life, and you think about the people that are the most great, think about right now the people you respect the most. The people you respect the most are people that did not have it the easiest. If you think about it right now as I'm talking, a parent, a grandparent, a friend, the people that didn't have it the easiest and overcame, those are the people that are the most revered. Because at the end of the day, the way life works is that if we have something inside us, the only way that thing that's inside comes out is if we're able to bring it out through challenge. If I don't have to move, if I don't have to work, if I don't have to be uncomfortable, how am I going to ever express the divineness that's inside of me? How does God ever have expression in this world if everything is handed to us on a silver platter? The challenge that is before us is what makes us great. And Mordecai turns to Esther and says, you think you're a nobody? You think you're a nothing because that's how you feel comfortable? You have something inside you. You're part of something bigger. God rests within. And the challenge that is in front of you is going to bring out who you are. And maybe, just maybe, you are a queen because of this moment. That's all she needed. Great people don't need much. That's all she needed. Next step, she turns and goes, Lech knos kol yudim, go get the Jews, let's rock and roll. And her life changes forever. Because that's life, in my opinion. We think greatness is likes or money or pats on our back. Greatness is one thing. It's our ability to look at what's right in front of us right now, and decide to be uncomfortably great and not comfortably mediocre. It's those people that hear the voice of maybe you're in this world for this reason. Maybe the reason why I gave you this kid is because you're the only parents that can handle this kid. You know that kid that we all have? Remember that one I'm talking about? The one that we had him first, we'd only have one kid. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe the reason why you're in this marriage, maybe you're dealing with this tragedy, maybe you're in this environment, maybe you're in this town, maybe, just maybe you're in this job, because I need you here to do something great. Greatness is a decision we make every single day. And that decision comes when we walk with a confidence that what's inside us is so much bigger than we can ever dream of. That greatness comes when we walk around and say, God's not up, he's in. And my job is to reveal that in every little thing of my life. And when you live your life and you look for him, you know what happens after a while? You start to see him in nuances. That doubt starts to drip away a little bit. You may not be able to say it. You can't maybe prove it. Maybe if you're in a debate, you can't really show it, but you know it. You feel it. You sense it. The rabbis teach us, Ein simcha ke'ataras hasfekos. There's no greater happiness than the resolving of doubt. Because the greatest happiness in the world is knowing I'm doing the best that I can every single day to fulfill my purpose in this world. Nothing can buy us that. No one can give us more happiness than that. Mishenichnas Adar. If you can go through the huge work of what it means to be a Jew in 2019, forget Jew, a human in 2019, you walk into Adar. You walk into the month where God doesn't poof himself. You walk into the month where it's not so simple to see him because he's splitting seas. You walk into the month that we remember the doubts that creeped into our minds. You walk into the month where you have to stare at a challenge and look it in the eye and go, I don't think you know who you're dealing with. You walk into a month where it all looks dark and you've got to light it up. And you walk through a month like that and can find the light from within. Marbin b'simcha. There's nothing that brings more life satisfaction than that. There is nothing more valuable in life than to wake up in the morning and know, I am going to give my life 1,000% today. I live in the micro moments. And when I go to bed at night, I may win, I may lose, I may fail, I may succeed. But let me tell you something. When my head hits that pillow, it will not be from a lack of effort. And when a person lives like that every day, they go to bed with a certain level of happiness that even the person who's standing on a platform doesn't have. Because that's what life is. It's trying to get every day to be the best that it can be. It's walking with God every chance you get. And my blessing to this wonderful crowd and to the family of Trudy who lived this way, from the little we spoke, it seemed like she knew this in her core. That the simcha that Trudy experienced was not a simcha, wasn't a happiness that she got because she bought it. It's a happiness that she got because she intuited it. She walked with a sense of purpose, even to the end. And we have to walk around with that sense of purpose, in our own ways, to stand tall, to stand proud, to fight, to see God in the areas that doesn't seem like he's there, to look for him in the crevices, and to remember that all of us are Esther. We're just choosing which version of Esther we want to be. All of us have moments that say, I am too meek, I can't handle this. But once you hear the voice of maybe you're here just for this reason, and you sense that there's something inside you that's greater than what's in front of you, the work you do afterwards is what makes us the true Esther. That's how you get rid of Amalek. And my bracha is that we should be the people that do it in our way, at our times, at our levels. And maybe just maybe just maybe in our days we'll see a time where God takes care of the rest. You know, when Mashiach comes to Hashem, I'm sure as day that Mashiach, when he comes, he's flying through JFK. You know what I'm talking about? There's no question. And between me and you, if Mashiach comes and he flies through Newark, I'm like, you're not Mashiach anyways, there's no question. That's my test for Mashiach. How'd you get here? He's like, I got a El Al flight to Newark. I'm like, you flew Newark? You're not Mashiach. My sense for sure is I think Mashiach is taking a Delta flight from Tel Aviv to JFK. So the truth is, you guys are in the hub. You know what I'm talking about? So you'll be the first one to know. My bracha is that this community and all communities, and the merit of Trudy and all those, should walk around and continue the wonderful work that we started 2,000 years ago, to find God inside us, to stare at a challenge, and to realize that what's inside me is so much bigger than what's in front of me, and through that, achieve what we really want, a life of true greatness. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, welcome to the first Trudy's Treasures event. We've been sitting for a bit, so humor me and play my little game. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and if your answer is yes, then please stand up. And once you're standing, please remain standing until I'm finished with all of my questions. Number one, who here has a child or a grandchild at Tower Day School or Beth Jacob Preschool in the last 20 years? Get up. Who here is a member of Congregation Beth Jacob? Who here has been impacted by the Florence and Seymour Gerson mikvah? Who has worn a kiki-riki shell in the last 12 years? Come on, ladies, get up. Who has eaten at Chai Peking? Who has used Trudy for decorating ideas? Who's bought an ad, a raffle ticket, or given a donation to Trudy? Who is a member of the Zwick or Robbins clan? If any of you are still seated, then unbeknownst to you, your presence here today attests to the fact that Trudy's memories continue to inspire, so get up also. And Charlie, you're getting Chai Peking for lunch also. Okay, look around this room. There are a lot of you here, an awful lot of you. And we've all been impacted profoundly by Trudy's creativeness and selflessness. And this room is only a microcosm of the goodness and the difference that this one woman has made in our world and our community. You may be seated. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jody Wittenberg, and I was asked today to speak for 3 reasons. Number 1, I've been a longtime friend of Trudy's and the Robbins family. Number 2, I'm the past president of Beth Jacob Sisterhood. And number 3, really, who is willing to get up here after Rabbi Feldman and Charlie Harary to speak? I feel like a huge honor and a gift has been given to me by allowing me to be here today to share a few tidbits with y'all about Trudy. I first met Trudy a different lifetime ago. It was about 29 years ago. She was pregnant with Chaim Yeshaya, and she was wearing all white. White blouse, white pants, she had her hair in a pony. Now, mind you, she was in all white, not black, so you know it was a long time ago. But she had her trademark red lipstick and her nails. I was selling her fabric in my family business, and she was working for her design company. Fast forward a few years. I'm now at Beth Jacob. There's this woman I used to sell fabric to. How bizarre. What are the odds? Similar look, but I think she had on a shaitel. Is it her? Yes, the red lipstick gave her away. Since then, we've remained friends, neighbors, and each other's go-to kind of people. Trudy set the tone for fashion in this neighborhood for many, many years. Remember, rewind the clock about 15 to 18 years ago, and we all had these like high-waisted squiggly dresses. Linda, I know you had one. Judy, I know you had. Julie, I know you had. Rachel, you had. We all had them. And then it became black stretchy skirts, and then it became black stretchy skirts with these tiered layers. And it was always comical shopping at Trudy's house. She'd have an open house, and we'd all pile in. One woman trying on in the laundry room, one in the bathroom, one in a closet, one in the bedroom, and one behind the racks. And once you were done trying on, you came out, and all the women there would give you their opinions. It was always a party. Trudy is the only person I know that has officially outschlepped me. If you wanted carpet samples, no problem. She'd throw those kids in that big green van, and she'd drop off carpet samples to your house. If you needed a last-minute dress, Trudy to the rescue. A suitcase of options would be at your door in no time. And mikvah shopping night, oi, for that matter, any shopping night, the racks and the racks. Yes, Ruvain Michael, I know you helped, but so much schlepping. A family emergency, no problem. A warm and delicious hot Chai Peking meal was delivered to you immediately. And I confess up to this one. Years ago at Return to Eden, I was her Pirate's Booty pusher. Pirate's Booty was one of her simple, guilty pleasures. And now, every day at the Spicy Peach, when I pass my frozen roasted veggie kugel, I think of her. Years ago, we were selling ads for TDSA, for the ad journal, and it must have been my first time at this. And that day, Dawn taught me a valuable lesson. When asking for money for tzedakah, you're giving somebody else the opportunity to do a mitzvah. You stay focused, you stay confident, you keep that mission in mind, and you will succeed. And she promised me that asking would get easier. I nodded, very patronizingly, and I started to make some calls. But then I looked over and I saw Trudy in action. I had an aha moment. I now really understood what Dawn was saying to me. Trudy understood this, and she knew with every call and every ask, You were giving someone else a huge opportunity. However, then Trudy taught us another lesson. On top of that one, you just never know when somebody wants to give either. So even if it's the night before Pesach, it's worth a call. Just try. Because of this mindset, Trudy never said no. No matter what was ever asked of her, she never said no. She generally said next, more. You can give her 10 names to sell raffle tickets. And then she'd text you within 10 minutes and say, I need 10 more names, I'm done. You needed prizes for an auction, great. Trudy would go all over town. She wouldn't just collect 3 or 4 items. She'd come back with dozens. She'd have every tire center, every hair cutter, every nail salon. You know it, we've all seen it. She's never declined an opportunity to do a mitzvah or help somebody to do one. Trudy was a radiant and beautiful woman. Inside and out, she'd light up her room with her sparkly eyes and her pearly smile. But nothing made her shine like talking about her kids. When they were younger, she was generally toting them around with her. And when they got bigger, she was delighted to fill you in on whatever was happening with Chaim, Yeshaya, Naomi, Naf, and Tehillah. And when you asked her about the grandbabies and asked to see a picture of them, her smile would grow even bigger and she would melt. Let's just face it, Trudy was an icon. All you had to do was say Trudy, like Snoopy or Oprah or Montes Yahoo. Everybody knows who you're talking about. And frankly, I think we all conjure up the same image. I hope that the Robbins and extended Robbins family find comfort in our extended BJ Togo community. We love y'all, and we are truly and deeply grateful that y'all shared your wife and your mother with all of us for all these years. The impact Trudy created was immeasurable, and she was truly one of a kind. As the past president for many, many years of Bet Jacob Sisterhood, I can say that Trudy attended and supported all of our events. She made suggestions for ideas for programs and how to improve the show. Trudy was always one that if she critiqued, then she also offered a solution. Trudy's Treasures is the perfect way to memorialize Trudy. It exemplifies Trudy's priorities, beautifying her house of God, Torah, prayer, and of her rabbi that has given her support, advice, and inspiration throughout the years. And a project like Trudy's Treasures that has a kickoff event where you get to be galvanized by Charlie Harary, and the financial proceeds go towards sprucing up and prettifying. Prettifying is really a real word. Google it. The show. It is so Trudy. So today is the inaugural day of Trudy's Treasures, and today's goal is to raise $50,000 or more. Trudy's Treasures has multiple projects in mind to enhance Beth Jacob. However, the first job we will tackle is to give the ladies' room by the sanctuary a facelift. It's been decades, or a lot of flushes, since it has been upgraded. Ironically, the sofa cushion in that bathroom was the last item Trudy recovered in the shul. Also, the carpets need replacing, and there's other future enhancements planned, but we're starting with the ladies' room. And since we can't like nameplate the flusher, or the toilet paper dispenser, or the countertops, eventually there'll be a tasteful marker in honor of all of our financial contributions placed in the shul. So let's get this party started. All donations are welcome. You've attended this event for free, so maybe you're comfortable giving $18 or $25 to this campaign in lieu of a ticket. However, if you're able to do more, then please do it. And Trudy was all about kicking it up a notch. So since we're doing this, let's do it. I have an exciting offer for you today. I made Trudy treasure boxes. I had the best treasure hunters in town, Sarah Robbins, Dee Block, and Leah Lewis. They came through for me. I wanted trinkets that would reflect Trudy's favorites. And the boxes have approximately an $85 value, and they're truly a token of all things Trudy. So the first 15 people, don't rush at me at once, that pledge $1,000 or more today, get a box. And you can be billed in one payment, or $100 a month. Or you can go in it with the person sitting next to you. We're not picky. We're not picky about pledges or payment methods. And don't worry, if you've already pledged in the gold category, you'll get a box too. And for a bonus round, if the first 2 people want to give me $5,000 or more, you'll get an extra trinket with your treasure box. And frankly, as we all know, the show will bill us in a way that we are comfortable with. So do whatever dollar amount you can handle. Trudy was our treasure, and she's left behind an extraordinary legacy. and it is our job to maintain the shoal and take care of it in a way that you want us to. So, in Trudy fashion, let's get this done. No one here say no. Let's make all of our donations to this campaign and elevate Trudy's neshama as a community together. And I'd like to thank Julie Weinstein, QT, Kathy Brewsters, Barbara Fisher, Josh Weinberg, Janet Afra, and Sugarcoat Nail Salon for their generous contributions to the treasure boxes. And before I go, everybody look under your seat and see if you'll be eating free ice cream today at Brewster's, because 3 of you will be. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for contributing to this new fund.